gosh darn it, I thought I was being cute by flipping the camera around. I'm like, ooh, let me do this because it'll look nicer. And you know what happened? I recorded myself and it was like this, it was cut off right here. And so now I'm re-recording this episode while it's still oh, no! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? We're just going with it. So yeah, I'm re-recording this, and I wanted to talk about, you know what? Let me just take you with me. Sorry for dropping you. I hope you're okay. I Earlier this year, I sent off my roller derby jerseys and shirts to be made into a quilt, and this is how it looks. Can I get far enough away? Can you see the whole thing? So there's that. This is what I'm talking about, man. My roller derby jerseys. So I played roller derby for 12-ish years. 10, I retired. You know, that's just how it is when you play it. Like a sport like that is like, so many people are like, I retire, and they always come back. That was me several times. So I've accumulated quite the collection of jerseys and t-shirts and merch and all of the things. And let me back up just a little bit. So last year in 2024, I've mentioned that I started writing, and through this writing process, I was really able to like untangle a lot of the stories that were happening in my mind and really kind of like figure out which of those stories like actually belong to me and which of them were just like crap that was put into my head either through like programming from society or like shitty events that happened to me, and then I just am reacting to everything because I never want to have to feel that way again or whatever. So through writing, I've been able to process a lot of things differently than I do like versus making art. And that's why I made my 30-day astral expansion challenge. If you're interested and you need help journaling and writing and helping you process some stuff, I highly recommend you can check out in my link in my profile, my 30-day challenge. But through the writing, I was able to get super duper clear on who I am as a person. I was able to separate myself from all of the stories. And this is like an ongoing process. I'm still doing this, you know, anyways, there's many layers to this. And part of this has helped me grieve the loss of identity that I felt when it comes to being a roller derby skater, because I played for so long, it was truly a part of my identity. And when I stopped skating, I kind of didn't know who I was anymore. Like it like like shook my world in such a way. And the last few years, I would say like between 2020 and 23, I definitely was clinging on so tightly. Like I did not want to let that identity go, but it was time. And so like I just kept trying to go back. I kept trying to do roller skating stuff. I kept trying to like, I would volunteer and like ref a game, or I'd go to a practice, but it wouldn't stick. You know, I even went to a practice like when I first moved here. And I just couldn't do it. And I am just in a place where that part of my life is done, and it's time for me to officially close that chapter. So making this quilt was part of that. And while I was doing the writing last year, I you know, part of it was like I was looking around at all of the stuff that is in my house that represents things that make me feel lack. So that's also things that don't align with the person that I want to be or the person that I am. And so I had so many clothes that were like derby outfits, and they were, look how many freaking jerseys. That wasn't even all of them. Not only that, but I also had like office clothes. Like, how long had it been since I worked in an office? Why was I holding on to them? I was like, I had like an interview outfit. I'm just like, fuck that. I'm not going to do an interview again. I'm doing my own thing. And like, I never want to work in a space where I have to like dress up like that, you know? Like, I'm done with that. Got rid of a ton of clothes and other things. Like, I had so many like knickknacks that I accumulated for whatever reason, a bunch of art supplies that I was like, well, maybe one day I'll do this, and it's like had to get rid of those too. But I hung on to the jerseys and the t-shirts. They just like, there are certain things where I was like, I'm not ready to deal with that, so it just stayed in the corner. And then I went back through earlier this year and I was like, okay, it's time for me to start dealing with this. And so I pulled out however many, I forgot. I found a website that's like, here, it's called Project Repat, and they're like, here you can make a quilt with like, I don't even remember, 30 shirts or something. And I was like, okay, I think I could do that. And so I started organizing. I pulled out the 30 that I wanted, and then I got rid of the rest. Mostly. I still have some. I donated or like got rid of some of them, and then I have a couple that I'm still a little sentimental about them. And then I had the rest of them, you know, I put them aside, and they give you like a time period from the time that you buy it to pack it and send it. And it's like a month or something. Or I think it might have even been longer, but I just put it off. I waited until the last minute. I don't know why. I was like, I wasn't quite ready to let go of it. So I'm doing more work that helps me, you know, I'm doing a lot of like somatic work that's helping me like reparent my inner child and, you know, work on my blocks and whatnot. And anyways, through that, I finally got to a place where I'm like, okay, it's time for me to deal with these freaking jerseys. And so I had to actually cut up each of these jerseys. I had to physically cut through them because you could only send them like one side of the shirt. So I went through, and all of the ones that I wanted, I took the scissors and I physically cut these jerseys. And I remembered as I'm cutting each one, I'm like, okay, I remember the championship game that we designed these jerseys for. I remember this merch that I bought when we went to an away game. I remember, you know, the games that I played in this jersey and that and this and yeah, just it was a very cathartic experience having to go through and to physically cut these jerseys and shirts and whatnot. And it was actually like a release, and it was also kind of like a way for me to like close the chapter on this you know, part of my life that I was no longer, you know, it was done. And so I sent off the jerseys, and I didn't really think too much about it. And then they came back like several weeks later, and I pull it out, and like I'm like flooded with these emotions, and I'm like, dang, they did such a great job with this. And then I'm thinking about just everything, all the things. And my Instagram handle for a long time was Mall McCartney 9, which was my roller derby name and number. And I changed it, and I never really said anything about it. I just like changed it. And so now I'm Astral Auntie Allie, and I made a post. I found a bunch of pictures of me skating through the years, and I put them together, put some text on top of it, and I was just like, I have to let go of her in order to grow. And this is like officially me saying goodbye to Mall McCartney and welcoming back Allison. And I even typed in the post that I was like, I don't really see a lot of people talking about mourning the loss of not being involved in roller derby anymore, of like the identity of being a roller derby skater, because you're not around those people anymore. You're not in the energy of it. And I don't know, I guess like some part of me was just like, oh, I don't skate anymore. I can't talk to these people and whatever. And, you know, like I just feel so blessed and fortunate that I've met so many wonderful people throughout the years that some people I met like for one season and then they're out of my life, and that's fine. And then there are other people that I've met, you know, or I've like met literally just once, and we just had a connection. And through the years, they have just been rooting for me. And there's so many beautiful things about roller derby that I'm so grateful for, because I really grew so much as a person and a skater because of that sport and the community involved. And I, in the post, I had talked about how, if you know me through roller derby, please leave a comment down below. And I just had the doorbell ring, so I'm going to wrap this up. If you are someone that I've met through roller derby or through roller skating, and yeah, sound off down below and let me know, like, can you resonate with this? Did you feel like this sense of loss and this grieving when you were no longer skating, And I think about it a lot, like, I'm still a roller skater even if I'm not skating actively. I feel better when I do skate. It's like the same thing as an artist. Like, I feel better when I am creating. It doesn't mean I'm not an artist when I'm not creating. Same thing with roller skating. And I also realized, you don't have to be actively skating as a roller skater to still have those connections with those people that you've met and those relationships that were formed. And I guess that's where I am right now. So I'm like finally in a place where I'm like, I can talk about that out loud. And I'm so happy that I had people who were, just who came out of the woodwork and hadn't talked to me in years, and who were so nice and left like the most amazing messages and comments for me. And I'm just like so grateful, because that's the thing that I love and I missed the most, is not only because I was like, that part of me, but it's the connection, it's the people, it's the community. That's the part that really I miss the most. And yeah, once I stopped like taking everything personally and like once I was able to like get some of this off my chest, now I feel like, there's layers of it. There's going to be more and more that comes up of it, but I'm finally in a place where I can even say this out loud, which I'm like, yes, good, that's great. So yeah, just saying it out loud helps me process. I even freaking sat and recorded a podcast episode of it, and I did it messy. And it's just like these YouTube videos where I just sit and I talk and I go with the flow, and that's it. You know what? I stumble over my words, I repeat myself, I stutter. It doesn't matter, because what matters is that I'm trying to share this story, because I know I keep finding that when I say the shit that scares me out loud, there's always somebody else who's like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I'm like, geez, here I was thinking I was alone. That's so silly. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. And yeah, if you're a skater, if you knew me through derby, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later. Bye.